wherever you're listening in the world, it's a pleasure to welcome you to IsraelCast, the podcast powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. I'm Stephen Shalowitz. First reminding you that for over 120 years, Jewish National Fund USA has been the premier philanthropic movement for the land and people of Israel. While best known for planting trees in Israel, JNF USA contributes to Israeli life in so many ways, including community development in the Negev and the Galilee, preservation of heritage sites, supporting people with disabilities, connecting high school and college students to Israel, and helping our brothers and sisters in need following the heinous October 7th terrorist attack. To learn more and to see how you can contribute, do visit jnf.org. Once again, jnf.org. Plus, if you haven't done so already, we'd love it if you subscribed, rated, and reviewed us, 5 stars, of course, wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd love it too if you shared the show within your orbit. And of course, if you'd like to write to us with story ideas or just to say hello, we'd love to hear from you. Our email address is israelcast@jnf.org. Once again, write it down, israelcast@jnf.org. All right, as for this episode, I'm coming to you from the Consulate General of Israel, where our featured guest is Ambassador Ofir Akunis, Israel's Consul General to New York. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for inviting us into your offices, and thank you for joining us here on the program. And we also want to say congratulations to you, because tomorrow marks your first anniversary of serving as Consul General here in New York.
You're right. Thank you, Stephen, for having me. I'm sure that we'll have a great conversation about all the issues that we are dealing with here in general, in Israel, in the Middle East, other places.
There are so many issues to cover,
exactly.
And you have such a fascinating journey as a public servant. So before assuming your role here, indeed, you did so much, and we're going to get to some of that in just a moment. But if you could first just sort of share, Ofir, your mandate for representing Israel based in the city with the world's largest Jewish population outside of Israel.
And the biggest embassy in the world, actually, here in New York, because outside of Israel, this is as you said, the largest community. So we have a lot of things to do here, and we are doing them. First of all, of course, all the very close connections with the Jewish organizations and the Jewish communities. So I want to tell you something. There's hundreds of Jewish communities here in New York. I'm not talking about Manhattan, I'm talking about New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Delaware, and New Jersey as well. So I insist to meet all of them. And I'm talking about, of course, the main organizations that we know for the last 100 years. But I'm talking about the new communities like the Syrians, the Persians, the Bukharians, the Greeks, and you name it. So I'm doing it. Of course, all the relationship with congressmen and senators from our region. And of course, a lot of media to talk about, actually to reflect the truth. That's the main thing, to reflect the truth, because the people who are standing every day, by the way, right here in front of the consulate, all around the media here in New York and other places, they're lying all the time about the war in Gaza, about the reasons, and they never mentioned that we didn't start the fire, they did.
And so what are you doing then to combat all of that, the tsunami of just Jew hatred and all of this anti-Israel vitriol?
To meet, to speak, to talk with, students, organizations, communities, whoever wants to hear. By the way, not everybody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
You should know it. But, and it's very difficult with them, because this is almost, if someone, don't want you, actually the opposite is the truth. They are saying that they want to, some of them, to kill you.
Yeah.
And they are doing it. They are saying it very, very clearly. By the way, not only us, that to America. I think that, it's unbelievable that people here are chanting and yelling here in Union Square, in front of the Grand Central, and in the entrance to the Central Park, death to Israel, death to America. I think this is a very, very bad situation to the American people, because they need to know that those people, they want to do it.
Ambassador Ido Aroni, a predecessor of yours, I'm sure a very good friend of yours, talks of the 10, 20, 70 paradigm. In other words, like 10% are the, purple-haired girls at Barnard wearing the keffiyeh with the nose ring shouting death to Israel. The 20% are people like us that support Israel. The 70% are those that really don't have a great understanding of Israel, and Israel doesn't really register in their psyche. It's not just in their radar, shall we say. So I'm just wondering, he talks about the need to reach out to that 70%. But for me, that 10% is so, as we say, insidious and impacts, for example, the media and the media narrative. And here you are, a former communications guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do we do with that 10%?
I think that the 10% are, I think, they are the main problem because they don't want to hear the truth, not our truth, the facts. They don't care about the facts. I will give you an example. Why I put these, they can see, but we can describe them, this photo of Ariel Bivas here on my desk. Why? To show everybody that those terrorists, Hamas terrorists, killed them with their own hands. And they don't care about it. If there are, I don't know, let's say they are chanting here, Free Palestine. What do you mean? Do you want, and I'm not talking about the Muslims themselves. I'm talking about the others who joined them, to the protesters. They don't care about the truth. They don't have a heart, to describe, to imagine, to feel. And I think that those 10%, I don't think that they will change their mind.
Yeah, they're lying.
And I want to say something else. It's not just that they will not change their mind. We must do whatever we can to stop them, because their threat is not to the Israeli society. They are here. It's to the American society. And believe me that they want you to live under their rules. They want let's say you have your own, day in, day out behavior. You are doing whatever you want. It's okay, fine. They want to force you to live like them.
So when you speak to the media or you speak to university administrators, for example, and you share that message with them, what's their response?
I think that there's a lot of them that actually understand. It's very, it's difficult to some people to admit that, that this is the truth. But I will tell you, I think that it's among the American citizens, it's much better than it reflects in the media. I have to tell you, I think that most American citizens prefer Israel, love Israel. Why? Because they know that we, America and Israel, we are sharing the same values, and not with them, with all the, I can't say with all the respect, because I don't have respect to people who use the American democracy to destroy it.
So there are bright lights, is what you're saying. Yeah, there are bright lights, but I think that we all have to be on guard for that 10% still, because again, that 10% are in universities right now. They're going to graduate.
No doubt about it.
They're going to teach the next generation, and that's
so we need to stand
careful with.
So we need to stand, very, let's say,
vigilantly,
very vigilantly against them, and start, educate the others. We just talked about 10%. What about 90%? We must educate them, first of all, to bring them. We are living in an upside-down world. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Influenced by the the cell phones and the TikTok and all the. It's very difficult, I have to tell you, to educate people these days. Like, I don't know, in the 90s even, or even 20 years ago. But there's books, there's meetings. This podcast, others. My Instagram is very popular.
We're going to share the ambassador's Instagram account, it's Ofir_Akunis, OFIR_AKUNIS. And you have, wow, 46,000 plus, shall we say,
That's right.
followers. And you're only following 99 people. I want to know who those 99 people are. I'm going to have to check in just a moment. Well, listen, switching gears, because there's other bases that I want to cover with you. How would you gauge, Ofir, the relationship between Jews in the diaspora and Jews in Israel?
I will tell you, I can say that it's totally a different world after October 7th. I remember my visits here to New York or to other places, to London, to other places, here, especially Europe and the United States. Not in India, not in China, or not in Japan, but here in the Western world, I heard a lot of criticism. Unfortunately, yes, as a minister about Israel, from not from all the Jewish communities, but from part of them. Okay. Since October 7th, I think that everything changed. There's a huge support. I'm not talking only about donations. This is very, very important. But I'm talking about a moral support. And that's very good. First of all, there's a unity here among the Jewish communities. I remember the eternal, arguments between the Jewish communities here about the Western Wall, formula, about other things, religious issues in Israel, about the Judea and Samaria, about the two-state solution. I heard a lot of arguments between the Jewish communities here, and criticism against the state of Israel as well. But I think that after October 7th, I think that, and it's very impressive, that all of them, all kinds of the communities are for Israel, with Israel, understand the truth, knows, by the way, hundreds, thousands, I don't know, huge numbers of people. And by the way, for Pesach, I think that, and I visited Israel for Leil HaSeder, for Pesach, I saw hundreds of people from this town in hotels in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv. I was so happy.
Well, the food's better there.
Yeah. Always.
Yes.
And the sun is better.
Yeah, the sun too. Weather's better than New York.
Exactly. So now it's good, by the way.
Yes.
Finally.
Yeah.
But the unity.
Yeah.
The unity is very important. I'm always saying unity first. I think that it's very important. Why? Because our enemies, they're watching us. Yeah. And here, I think that they can see that we are very, we are solid as a rock here in the United States. By the way, all over, from Brooklyn to Manhattan to communities in New Jersey, in Pennsylvania. And that's very good. And I'm very happy.
Remind me, the jurisdiction that you have. It's not just New York, Pennsylvania. It's Delaware too, isn't it?
Delaware as well.
Connecticut.
Not Connecticut.
Oh, New Jersey.
No, Connecticut. It's belongs to Boston.
Oh, got it.
And New Jersey, of course. Ohio as well. We're talking about a very important place.
Yeah, and very large Jewish communities.
That's right, Columbus and
Cleveland, Cincinnati,
with the very, very, as you said, large Jewish communities. We're all over.
Right. Before we get to some of your career highlights, you've done really a lot of very interesting things throughout your career before you got here. How did you get the call to become the Consul General?
From the Prime Minister.
Okay. What was that like?
No, I will say to you, I'll be honest with you. Here we talked about the position of the ambassador to the United Nations when Netanyahu reestablished his fifth government as well. Or sixth. It was the end of 2022. The elections, I don't know if you remember, it was November 1st, 2022. And Netanyahu became prime minister again. And then he asked me if I want to do it. I said, yes, Prime Minister. But he said, you will do it next summer. So something like the summer of 2024. And then things like in the Israeli politics, actually, all around the world, it's almost the same. First of all, we faced the October 7th massacre. Then he asked from Ambassador Tonon to do his comeback to the United Nations, and they offered me the position of Consul General of Israel in New York. I was thinking about it. I asked my wife, Adi Jonathan. He came from the army to a very short vacation. And from Roni, she was, I think it was her last year in the high school. And I said to them, it was Shabbat dinner, and I said, the prime minister offered me the position. And it was a very, very interesting conversation. And in the end, we all said yes. Why? Because I will tell you, it's not less important to serve my people right now here in New York. It's very, it's a huge respect to serve my people in the Knesset, in the Israeli parliament, in the cabinet, of course. But these days, to represent the state of Israel here, it's like to be a minister actually in the cabinet.
Yeah. And it's a great honor, though, to represent Israel outside of Israel, right? And it's even maybe more difficult.
Actually, you're right. Absolutely.
Right. Now, you served as, of course, you're a member of Knesset. You were elected in 2009, and you had many roles coming out of that position. Mm. You served as the Minister of Innovation, Science, and Technology between 2015 and 2020, and then once again, December 2022 until March of 2024. And during your first term as the Minister of Science and Technology, you led a number of really significant reforms aimed at making science, technology, robotics, and cyber accessible to all Israeli citizens, especially in the periphery. And you oversaw Israel's Bereshit mission to the moon.
Exactly.
You signed close to 30 international agreements to strengthen ties between Israel and other countries in science, technology. We're talking about countries like here, the United States, India, an important ally of Israel, China, Japan, Argentina, Brazil, Greece,
United Kingdom,
the United Kingdom, Cyprus, the Czech Republic. Yes, and the list goes on.
That's right.
First off, I have to ask you about the whole Bereshit launch, because that must have been truly exhilarating for you.
I actually started my position as Minister of Science and Technology. It was September 2015. And my predecessor, the head of the Shabak, Yaakov Peri, he decided then that the state of Israel will support the Bereshit project. It was around 2 million shekels, something like that. And said, so I called him. I asked him, we're in a very good relationship, by the way. I think that it's necessary that even though we have different opinions, you must be able to talk with your colleagues from the opposition or from the coalition. Okay, we are all one nation, one, Am Echad, I'm saying. And I asked him, he said that it was according to the budget. I called the Director General of the office and I said, I want not to double it. I want that it will be 10 million shekels. And he said, wow, we looked at me. It was his Director General that he appointed then, Mr. Sharir, I remember. And I said, yes, I want 10 million shekels for Bereshit. Of course, he checked everything. And after 1 or 2 days, he came back to my office and he said, okay, we have the money. I said, good. Now let's make a phone call to the Bereshit project team. Very, by the way, brilliant young Israeli guys. And of course, Maurice Kahn. Yeah. And I think that the Edelsons also.
We had one of the Bereshit people here on the program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And of course, we launched it to Moon, but unfortunately, a few meters for Moon, actually, Bereshit exploded. And then I said to the new Director General that we'll actually, let's talk about second Bereshit 2. And unfortunately, I left office, so I don't know what's the, what's their decision, because now Minister Gamliel replaced me. She needs to decide. But you mentioned something very important to me, and you mentioned the periphery in Israel. And I will tell you why it was so important to me to bring the hours of robotics education to the periphery or others, computers, like computer per child, by the way.
Yes.
In the beginning was also, I was the chair of computer per child.
Yeah.
I think that, you must give the opportunity to the whole kinds of the Israeli society and kids, teenagers, to be part of the success of the Israeli high-tech and innovation world. So I went to Sderot, to Ofakim, to Yarka and Julis, like Druze communities, to Muslim communities like El-Fachem or Tira and Taibe, to Christians, Muslims, Druze, Bedouins. We also found students in primary school who needs our support to buy computer. You can't, today it's impossible to learn without a computer. We found in Netanya everywhere, and we gave them the computers, and we gave them the opportunity to be equal to the other, communities that their parents are for themselves. All these things. And summer camps, science summer camps. I don't know how you will translate 80 shekels today. It's something like $20, something like that. It's nothing to a whole week. Okay, from 8 a.m. to, I think it was 1 p.m. And during the summer, to be part of the science summer camps. I think that it was necessary, it was good, and I'm very proud.
Well, Jewish National Fund is very active, as you know, in the periphery.
I know.
And in fact, last night, as we record this, Erel Margalit was in town. I don't know if you saw him or not, but we had an event at Jewish National Fund House, at JNF House.
That's good.
And he talked about, of course, what all of his innovation centers are doing throughout the country, especially up north.
That's very good. North and south, Otef Aza, and the other places. And you can find also very poor, unfortunately, communities in city like Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Or even Ramat HaSharon. It's not so far from Tel Aviv. It's very strong community, very rich community. But we found 30 families who can't afford computer to their kids. And we gave them the computer and the iPad, by the way.
Right.
So that was computer per child.
Yes. If we have time, I want to get back to the field of science and technology.
Yeah, please.
But I want to move on, though, and ask you about the Abraham Accords, because you were intimately involved with the Abraham Accords. If you want to share briefly your role, and then what do you think is the health today of the Abraham Accords, especially post-October 7th?
Good questions. First of all, the Abraham Accords is the proof that we can sign peace treaties with Muslim countries that actually their leaders wants to cooperate and collaborate with the Jewish state, with the state of Israel. And one of my visits, it was 2 years ago, I think, it was to Morocco. Morocco. It was like a miracle. And I visited there. I met students, Moroccan students, in the universities. I met their leaders, and my colleague, the Minister of Science and Technology. And we agreed upon that we must cooperate and collaborate, for our people, not for ourselves, for our people. And I talked time after time after time with my colleague for the Emirates, Rima Al-Hashemi. I think that she is still, by the way, in the same position of Minister of Regional Cooperation. I invited to Israel Minister El-Zayani from Bahrain. Yeah, from Bahrain. So he came with a delegation of businessmen, and I said to him, it was 2 or 3 hours before his flight back to Bahrain. I said, Mr. Minister, I don't want you to miss your flight. And he stood and smoked a cigarette on the terrace on Hilton and Tel Aviv, Hilton Hotel in Tel Aviv.
Right on the water, yeah.
That's right, exactly. And he said, I have time, I want to stay. I said, you are welcome, you're more than welcome. You should come again. And he came, by the way, with another delegation. So we can do it. I will tell you, the Gaza Strip can be like the Emirates. The model of I don't know if they want to, of course, without Hamas. Without them and without the Palestinian Authority, we need to find new partners, and they need to rebuild their people. So it can be a model for the Gaza Strip as well. So we are for, first of all, it's very good that we signed the treaty with Egypt and with Jordan, and then, of course, the Abraham Accords. And we are very close. No, not now, because October 7th changed the atmosphere. But back to 2020, it was so close to another Muslim state to be part of the Abraham Accords.
Which one?
I cannot.
Okay,
I cannot.
you know I had to ask.
That's right. You need to ask, but I don't need to answer.
Yes.
But about, I want to say...
Where are we today with?
I want to share a story. It was yesterday with the AGC leadership here in the consulate. And I said to them, Lebanon, without Hezbollah, can be also a partner to, by the way, they quoted all over in Israel. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but they quoted Lebanon can be next. But why? Because Hezbollah ruined the state of Lebanon. First of all, the Syrians. No, in the beginning, the Syrians. Then Iran took over South Lebanon. They call themselves Hezbollah, but it's an Iranian unit. It's like the Houthis. Why the Yemens don't want to be part of our region? Okay, I don't know. You should ask the Iranians.
And so where do we stand with the Abraham Accords today? How strong are they?
They are very strong. You need to know that the only line between, it was the only line between Tel Aviv, the Ben Gurion Airport, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Actually, it was the Emirates company. Even though
Emirates Airline.
It's unbelievable. Yep. Even United and Delta and American Airlines canceled the flight to Israel for a few months, and they never did it. But that's good.
And what about Syria?
It's a complicated situation. Okay, Syria, we knew for 50 years the Alawis. The Alawis, their, of course, leader was President Assad, then his son. Bashar Assad and his son, and then Hafez al-Assad, then Bashar Assad. So we knew them for a lot of 50 years. Now there's a new kid on the block. It's not a kid; he's a terrorist. He's really so, and we know it, and everybody knows it. And so we need to be very careful because Erdogan wants to be actually he wants to be the ruler of all Syria, New Syria, you name it. So, and by the way, we never want a clash. We never, in the future, we will. But we need to watch very carefully because we don't know, maybe he will change his mind and, want to do something to hurt our people around the Golan Heights or the Upper Galilee, or even, deeper to the state of Israel. And as you know, we did a lot of things to prevent it. And we'll continue to do whatever is necessary to defend our people. If it will come with, I don't know, a peace initiative, I'm very...
because I'm
not so optimistic.
Because there were those congressmen that recently went there and had, I don't want to use the word glowing things to say about him, but we're somewhat positive. So what I'm hearing from you is that we just have to be cautious.
Of course.
Like everything else.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Arab Spring?
I sure do.
What happened?
Yeah.
Here, I remember here in the United States, in Israel as well, by the way, a few people, and not so, by the way, a lot of people, I remember them, they were talking about democracies in a few countries around the Middle East, especially in the Arab world. There's no democracy.
Yeah. One more point about the Abraham Accords, though,
Please.
in potential countries.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia, where are we with them?
Everybody knows that if the Saudis will want to sign a peace treaty with us, we will be more than happy. Why? Because our nature is to sign peace treaties, and we are praying for peace every morning. Every morning, the Jewish people, we are all of us praying for peace, and the state of Israel as well. But you need to know that nobody put Israel under their conditions. And there is, and I said yesterday to the AGC delegation, that I think that something like, let's say, 80%. I don't want to say more, I don't want to say less, but something like 75, 80% of the Israelis now, and especially after October 7th, are against the idea of a Palestinian state in Judea and Samaria. Okay. Now, if that will be a condition, that can be very difficult, because the majority of the Israelis, I think, and they saw what happened when we withdrew from the Gaza Strip 20 years ago, the disengagement plan, and then October 7th happened, they invaded to the state of Israel. There's no occupation in Gaza. There's no Israeli soldiers. I'm talking about October 6th. Yeah, and no Israeli soldiers there. And they did it. They invaded. So if it will be a condition, it can be a problem.
What don't we know that we should know about the hostage negotiations? Or is there anything that would surprise us, or anything that hasn't made the news about hostage negotiations?
I will tell you, I'm always saying, and I will say to you as well, we need to speak less about the negotiation and about the next deal, because it's very, as I will quote Minister Blinken, he said that every time that Hamas heard that we are getting closer to a deal, and the international community put Israel under pressure to accept the deal, they escaped from the deal. The Hamas. He said it to the New York Times, a podcast, as far as I remember. Actually, he admitted that it was wrong policy from his administration. And I don't want to, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be wrong. And I think that we should, all of us, speak. Of course, we are praying for the hostages. It's ongoing negotiations, I have to tell you, all the time. I know from the Prime Minister himself that he is doing 100%, more than 100%, to release them. Now we need to put Hamas under pressure. We need to put Qatar under pressure, because, by the way, Qatar, they are responsible for all the tunnels in Gaza. They built the tunnels with their money, and now they are playing themselves innocent. Okay, we can host in Doha the negotiations in the very nice hotels there. No, you need to put Hamas under pressure because you sponsored them. All the money that you actually gave Hamas, they never built one school. They never built one kindergarten. Only tunnels to kidnap Israelis, and now they want to release them from the tunnels that they built. Now, this is unbelievable, and the American administration and the UN and the European Union and all the other international community must put them together under pressure. So I think that I will tell you, our hearts with the families. We love them. I'm talking with them a lot, hosting them right here. And here is a picture of Romi Gonen.
Yes.
Romi Gonen, 2 weeks before she actually released from Hamas captivity, her sister, she was sitting there, and I said then that we are very close to a new deal. And I asked her not to say a word. That's what happened. So I don't want to say now that we are closer than ever, like I said then, because that reflects the fact that we are doing whatever we can to release them, and I hope that it will happen as soon as possible.
As we begin to wind down our conversation, I'm super mindful of your time, and I so appreciate your having invited me in. My
pleasure.
I feel like we're going to have a round two, because there's a whole lot to discuss.
Whatever you want.
Oh, deal. I don't want to ask if you're sorry you didn't take a position at the United Nations, because, this position came up. But when it comes to the United Nations, let's say, I mean, obviously, Israel has to have a seat at the table. Yet, what do you make of just the Israel derangement syndrome that we find at the United Nations?
Unfortunately, the United Nations, and I don't want to speak in the name of my colleague, Danny Danon, I will say in general that the building here is the house of lies. Lie after lie after lie. They know that we accept 181 resolution. Here, it's on my tailgate. It's unbelievable. This is the front page of Yediot Achronot from November 29th. Okay? Hebrew state, 33 for, 13 against, 10 abstained.
In 1947.
That's right. So we accept, actually, if I can say it in our words these days, we accept the two-state solution. Because
back in 1947.
Exactly. Yeah. And what was the Palestinian response? A terror attack. They killed 5 Israelis, 5 Jewish, Israelis. You can say that before the establishment of the state of Israel. It was, by the way, not very far from what's today. It's Ben Gurion Airport, on the old way to Jerusalem. Okay, why? We accepted. You refused. And now you are saying that you want a Palestinian state? Excuse me, I will quote Abba Evan. Abba Evan is a very famous and one of the greatest ministers of foreign affairs in our history, from the Labour Party. He said about them, they never missed opportunity to miss opportunity. That's good.
Yes. All right. Well, listen, I always like to leave a conversation on a positive note. So I'm just wondering, as I said at the top of the show, we're celebrating your first anniversary tomorrow. So congratulations and happy anniversary for tomorrow. What are you enjoying most about living in New York?
I will tell you, first of all, it's not about me. It's about the state of Israel. So I want to congratulate the state of Israel. Will celebrate tomorrow the 77th Independence Day. So I want to congratulate my beloved homeland, my beloved country. I think that, and I will say it to you, and I'm very optimistic, as you know. First of all, I know 2 big miracles in the modern era: the state of Israel and the United States of America. So I hope that we will continue to actually collaborate, to cooperate, to be, the best friends. And I think that I can ensure you that we have a great future. After the war will come to her end, you will see the economy. By the way, our economy is still stable, even though the war is still going. But you will see the blooming of the state of Israel again, and resilience. And I'm optimistic about my country, not about me, even though it's very good to be optimistic about myself as well. But it's not about me. It's I'm here on behalf of the state of Israel. So I want to congratulate the people of Israel and the Jewish communities all around the world. Happy Yom HaAtzmaut, happy Independence Day.
Yes, happy Yom HaAtzmaut to everybody.
And you said it very good.
And I try. I was day school educated.
Okay,
Anyway, we're going to leave it right there.
Yeah.
Ofir Akunis, Ambassador Ofir Akunis, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of IsraelCast for our first conversation, first, I hope, of many.
Of course.
And we'll indeed have info about the ambassador on the show notes page of our website, jnf.org/IsraelCast. You're going to be very impressed by his bio, as impressed as I was. And of course, we do release new episodes of the show every other Wednesday. I don't know why you would want to miss an episode. And indeed, just so you don't, do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search for IsraelCast. Don't forget to rate and review us. 5 stars, of course, because that really helps with our rankings, which in turn make it easier for more people around the world to find us. You can always enjoy the show by visiting us at our website. Once again, it's jnf.org/IsraelCast. And indeed, it takes a homo shop to put IsraelCast together. For that, we thank Vivian Grossman, Stefan Oberman, J.D. Krebs as well. And our editor is Jay Rothman. The music that you hear at the top until the program is titled My Eden. It's by the very talented Rafi Malkiel from his album Water on the Tzaddik label. IsraelCast is powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. For more info about JNF USA, do visit jnf.org. And if you'd like to write to us with story ideas or just to say hello, as I said at the top of the show, we'd love to hear from you. So do email us at israelcast@jnf.org. Meantime, I'm Stephen Shalowitz coming to you from the Israeli Consulate General right here in New York City. Thank you for tuning in and looking forward to having you join us on future episodes of IsraelCast.